Hello, everybody. My name is Curtis Johnson. I am the Chief Strategy Officer over at Better, and I am also your host, or sometimes one of many. Sometimes Jeff pops in here, but I'm the host of Better Unhinged. I am joined here by Mike Connor, and Mike is we're both in the Alpharetta area.
Yeah.
So you haven't lived here for forever, though, right? You're a transplant like me as well, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
We're going to cover a little bit of background, obviously, but then we want to obviously very quickly get into the topics at hand. So you're a business coach, business consultant.
Correct.
How do you go by?
I go by a business coach.
Okay, awesome.
So,
how did you get into that?
great question. Basically, I'm a recovering corporate guy. I started my career as a pastor.
Okay.
Left ministry, went into corporate for 20 years, climbed the corporate ladder, got to the C-level suite, chief of staff for Fiserv.
Not Pfizer.
Not
Fiserv.
Pfizer, not the drug company.
Merchant Services.
The merchant
Yes,
services,
okay.
the financial tech firm, that every dollar that you have, when it goes someplace, it goes through their databases.
Damn.
Huge company that nobody knows about.
Right.
So I was chief of staff with their fraud and risk management. So small little part of their business. Right.
Very important.
We bought a large merchant service bank, essentially a company called First Data.
Mm-hmm.
And when they bought me, there's always restructuring, downsizing. I got a severance and decided, you know what? I would rather work for myself than go and work for someone else.
I like it.
And in doing that, I wanted to start helping small business owners actually be more successful. So I decided to coach, and I am having a blast doing it.
That's awesome. Do you focus on any particular industry, type of business?
I don't focus on a particular industry. There are some out there that do. I have everything. I've got an arborist who is just an awesome guy. I've got marketing companies. I've got tire wholesalers.
So all over the place.
It goes all over the place.
Good.
The bottom line is business is business is business.
Yeah.
And what I find is most business owners love what they do, but they don't know how to run a business real well. And so I come in and teach them essentially what they need to do in order to get their business to grow.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I like it. So, and we've got a lot of people who watch this particular podcast that are, call it in sales or distribution. So they're focusing on either in their particular industry or for a different company they're selling. Now, we have people who watch this podcast that cover any topic. And I think I know we were talking right before this about what we want to cover. So
Sure.
we're really talking, I don't know what the best approaching businesses, getting new clients, really in that particular area. I know that that's a massive pain point for a lot of people. So I think no matter whether you're selling or you run your own business, that's something that everyone cares about.
Well, and let's put it this way. If you're running your own business, you're in sales, right?
Sure.
Sales is what drives a business. So wherever you are in that hierarchy, you're selling. There are those who would suggest, and I would agree, that every person in your business should be in sales in one way or another.
Sure.
Right down to your receptionist or whoever it is that's meeting people the first time they come into your door or whatever. Understand that's your first impression.
Yeah, that's right.
And so first impressions sell. So you need to be thinking in your business, how am I selling? How is everybody else selling? Right? That's the first thing I would say. Understand. Even taking a step further, right? Most of the businesses I work with, I have to help them to understand going from having a job, right? Where, okay, I own a tow truck company,
Sure.
right? But really, they're just driving a tow truck. And I have to transform them into realizing, no, you're not just a tow truck driver.
Right.
You own a business. In order to own a business, this is what you have to do.
Yeah.
And one piece is you have to sell.
Yeah.
You have to go out and sell.
Definitely.
So that idea, that mentality has to get there, that you are always in sales mode.
Yeah. Always be selling.
Yeah. Always be selling.
That's right.
That's
Cookies are for closers, is what I'm told. But that might be because I have kids.
Yeah.
And I know anyone slightly older is saying coffee is for closers. But either way, coffees or cookies,
whatever
you
it
ain't
is.
getting them if you ain't selling. That's for sure.
Exactly. So we've got to be selling.
Yeah.
Now, that's not to be. All right. If we think about that, though,
Yeah.
right? And what does it mean to sell? There are different types of salespeople, right? And
Yeah.
you have to determine what kind of salesperson you're going to be. You can be an order taker, right? You walk into Chick-fil-A, no endorsements, but you walk into your fast food restaurant.
Well, you're not a
There's
Chick-fil-A
somebody.
fan. I don't know if we
No,
can be
I
friends.
love Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
We live in Georgia. We have to love
Yeah,
Chick-fil-A.
sure.
It's on the your tax
Resident,
bill.
yeah.
But you walk in. There's somebody behind the counter. They're taking your order.
Yeah.
They're doing sales, right? That's one type of salesperson. Right? There's also a product pusher, right?
Sure.
And we've all experienced these. These are the people that give salespeople a bad
This
reputation.
is what we need to be talking about, because I'm going to tell you right now. I've harped on this. We have for some of you watching this, you're probably at least semi-familiar with the concept of better. Maybe you have no idea what we're talking about and you just stumbled into this thing. But in our orientation, I have an entire section on branding and how you have to talk. You can't just be like, let's say we're old friends and I show up one day, we're both in the same supermarket together, and it's the first time I'm seeing you in a decade.
Yeah.
And I go, Mike, Curtis, hey, have I told you about the health insurance company that I'm doing?
Yeah.
How off the wall. It's usually, you should almost apply this in social media or anything you're doing selling wise.
Yeah.
If you don't prime the pump, you're going to come across as really weird.
Oh, we know the movie Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
It was just Groundhog Day the other day, right?
Yep.
How many people watched that movie? You remember, who is it? The guy who comes up to, I'm blanking on the guy's name. But
Me
too.
too.
But he's on the street and, hey, here's insurance. Have you, it's like, yeah.
It's right every time.
We
Yeah.
hate those people.
It also
right?
doesn't work.
It does not. In most situations, it does not work. It turns people off. It gives people a bad name.
Right.
Right. And so, but there are product pushers that are out there.
Yeah.
Right. The type of sales that works best is the problem solver. Right.
Okay. Sure.
Ultimately get to that point.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about sales, wherever you are, you want to understand that that person over there that you're talking to has a particular problem.
Right.
Right. And so if you begin to understand what is their problem, what is it that you can help to fix? So insurance, right? First you're asking questions. It's like, hey, how are you doing? Whatever.
Yeah.
But you start to dig down and asking, not the, start to date before you kiss, okay?
Yeah.
We
We won't take that analogy further.
Yeah,
But my
yeah.
mind went to the next steps. And
Yeah,
this is a PG show.
it is.
Go ahead, Mike.
But too many people in sales jump right to the end,
Right.
because they feel like they've got to hit a home run the first time,
Yeah.
right? Back yourself up, discipline yourself, start to get to know the person,
Yeah.
start to understand where they're coming from, right? And what's going on,
Right.
okay?
Yeah, and I guess part of it is, it depends also on your relationship with the person, because you might have already clocked all of the, relationship, credits, call it, you might need to make that introduction. Maybe you just helped move his couch into his apartment for the 75th time. Great, you've covered it. You're good, right?
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I was just talking about branding a second ago, and this is also a smart way to fast track some of that process.
Yeah.
I was reading a book. Oh my goodness. I'm going blank on the book. Isn't it great when you're in the middle of a podcast? And it's like, I've read this book 3 times. It is oversubscribed.
Oh,
Don't
great
ask me
book.
the author
It is
name.
a great book.
It's an amazing book. And in that book, he's also talking about this concept that you need so many touch points with an individual before they he calls it getting to the point of being a raving fan.
Yeah.
But a raving fan today is if you're talking about a business, that's someone you can now monetize. You can push them into that sales journey.
Yeah.
But if you haven't created that with a person in some respect or another, you've got an uphill battle.
Right.
So that's where branding, I see, comes into play, is you can then push them through some of those other channels, have that many other touch points. And this is kind of basically what you're talking about, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
And by the way, if I just back up.
Yeah.
I actually recommended that book to Jeff.
That's right. Okay, good.
And
so ultimately, the book that I just made a recommendation to everyone on this podcast from came from you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. It is a great book. Highly recommended.
Yes.
The other book that I'm listening to, again, because it's a classic, and if you need something to learn, and everybody should be learning all the time, right? If you have not listened to Michael Gerber's E-Myth Revisited,
okay,
do it.
Perfect.
Right?
And guys, just so you don't think you have to take tons of notes. All of this will be in the description right below. So we'll cover all these points.
That's a great book.
Good.
So as we think about sales, the other thing that I want everyone to understand is reframe your idea of what sales are, right? If we begin to think that sales is nothing more than professionally helping someone buy,
okay,
right?
Sure.
That's what sales really is.
Sure.
And to back that up, everyone who comes to talk with you, they know that you're in business. They know what you do already. You don't have to.
Or they don't.
Well,
and then we're getting to probably where you would go. You're getting to an out fundamental that you need to also solve.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But making the assumption that people know that you are selling a particular product, that you do a particular thing, they know that already. Right?
Yeah.
And so you don't have to go over that. Understand when they start to have a conversation with you, it's like they're walking into Dick's Sporting Goods or someplace else, and they may say, I'm just shopping. How can I help you? Oh, I'm just looking.
Yeah.
Right. Terrible first question, by the way, in sales.
Always.
But, but they are window shopping with you.
Right.
They are looking to find out information. People want to spend money. It is a human nature element. They want to spend money. They know you already, right? They know what your product is. They are very likely trying to understand, how is it that I can get to a point where I can buy their particular product?
Yeah.
And so it's not your job to try to sell them a particular product. It is your job to try and understand, how can they buy your product? What is it that you can put together for them and help them, coming back to the problem solver, understand what their problem is, so that they are coming back to you at the end of the conversation and saying, oh my gosh, I need to buy this today. Right. Okay. It changes your perspective of sales.
Sure. Changes the dynamic of it also.
Yeah.
I like it. And, we were talking about this earlier. We also understand that pretty much everyone who's watching this has about a 10-minute attention span.
Yep.
So we're not going to try and beat 1,000 topics into you all at once.
Yep.
We're going to have Mike on many times. So I appreciate your time today.
It's a
I think
pleasure.
we covered some really important, call it fundamentals of selling, but also fundamentals for anyone to be in business.
Yes. Yeah.
So thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
And go out and sell.
Yes. How can people find you? Actually, you know what? We'll put it in the description below, but
Absolutely.
should they gravitate to social, your website? What do you think?
Yeah. The easiest way, I guess, is I have a website that's Michael Connor at, or that's my email. Michael Connor at actioncoach.com is probably the easiest way.
They can reach out and email you there.
Yeah.
We'll also put other additional info to them
Yeah.
in the description and all those pieces.
I'm available.
Perfect. Perfect.
All right.
Awesome. Thanks for your time, guys. Make sure to like, subscribe, do all the usual, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thanks so much. Bye.